Donald Trump is now officially publicly feuding with former Fox News host and major MAGA podcaster Tucker Carlson after Carlson dared to criticize Trump with respect to foreign policy. As a matter of fact, Trump became so publicly triggered that he openly mocked Carlson at a press conference with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer. And then another interesting wrinkle is that, of all people, MAGA Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene leapt into the fray to defend Tucker Carlson against Trump. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, that MAGA civil war is heating up, and we're seeing all kinds of just internal schisms and unexpected alliances and team ups. It's it has all the grandeur of Game of Thrones or professional wrestling. Very interesting. But let's start with this clip from Donald Trump's press conference yesterday with Keir Starmer, the British Prime Minister, in which he took a shot and openly mocked Tucker Carlson.
I don't know what Tucker Carlson is saying. Let him go get a television network and say it so that people listen.
Damn. Ouch. Ooh. Listen, again, this is one of those things where it was like Trump versus Elon Musk, right? We're not backing anybody here. We're the only people we're trying to hype up at the moment is whoever the underdog happens to be, because you want this feud to be as long-lasting and as damaging to the MAGA brand and the MAGA coalition as humanly possible. Again, this is Godzilla versus Ghidorah. This is Godzilla versus Mothra. This is Dracula versus Wolfman. This is the Mummy versus Frankenstein's monster. It's a monster mash, okay? So as Mediaite reports, Trump fires back at Tucker Carlson by mocking ouster from Fox News. Trump hit back at Tucker Carlson amid the former Fox News host's ongoing criticism of Trump's foreign policy. Last week, Israel bombed Iran in a series of strikes across the country, targeting military officials and nuclear scientists. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu justified the attacks by claiming that Iran was on the verge of building a nuclear weapon, which he has alleged for at least 13 years. Sidebar, Jon Stewart hosts The Daily Show on Mondays, and so yesterday he did a segment covering Trump's military birthday parade and what's going on between Iran and Israel and Trump's unhinged, erratic behavior, and he brought that up. It was pretty funny about all the times that Netanyahu talked about how close Iran was to developing nuclear weapons. So you should definitely check out that segment. Secretary of State Marco Rubio issued a statement immediately after the strike stating the U.S. was not involved. I will point out that, that was a few days ago at the time of this recording. We just did a video about this. Trump, in a series of back-to-back posts, has effectively declared war on Iran, saying that the United States is a direct active participant, saying that it's the United States that owns Iran's skies, that they effectively took out all of Iran's airborne defenses and things of that nature, demanding unconditional surrender by Iran, and also not so vaguely insinuating that he could kill the Iranian supreme leader. He says, we know where he is. We're not going to take him out yet. So that was then. This is now. It seems like we are indeed in direct active hot war against Iran. So anyway, on Monday, Trump took questions from reporters at the G7 summit. In his letter last week, Carlson, who hosts a show on Twitter, admonished Trump against further involvement and slammed U.S. complicity in Israel's attacks, which could lead to a wider war. And then that led to Trump saying what he said to the British Prime Minister, or near the British Prime Minister in that clip. He then slammed Carlson again on Truth Social. He says, somebody please explain to kooky Tucker Carlson that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. And listen, I agree with Trump that Tucker Carlson is kooky as a general proposition. And number two, Iran should not have a nuclear weapon. But that's why Trump should have left the JCPOA, the Iranian nuclear deal, in place. That was authored by President Obama under the second Obama administration. It was working. There is no evidence that it was not working whatsoever. All the evidence points to the fact that Iran was complying with the conditions set by the JCPOA. And then Trump comes along, and because he hated Obama and wanted to undo everything that Obama had accomplished with respect to foreign or domestic policy, Trump unilaterally shredded the Iran nuclear deal, walked the United States out of the Iran nuclear deal. So if Trump is worried that Iran is closer than ever to a nuclear weapon, he has nobody but himself to blame, because he was the one who shredded the one major effective deterrence preventing Iran from developing a nuclear weapon. So it's his fault. Then here's the other wrinkle. Marjorie Taylor Greene off the top rope coming to Tucker Carlson's defense. Again, as Mediaite notes, Marjorie Taylor Greene defends Tucker Carlson after Trump calls him kooky. Marjorie Taylor Greene defended Tucker Carlson on Monday after Donald Trump called the former Fox News host kooky for opposing further U.S. involvement in Israel's attacks against Iran. Reacting to Trump's attack, Greene posted a photo with Carlson and wrote, as a matter of fact, let me just pull up this tweet. Oh my God. Two insane people. Again, folks, no, but everybody involved in this sucks. Trump sucks. Tucker sucks. Marjorie Taylor Greene sucks. I just love to see the infighting. Tucker Carlson, she says, is one of my favorite people. He fiercely loves his wife, children, and our country. Since being fired by the neocon network Fox News, he has more popularity and viewers than ever before. So again, kind of taking a shot at Trump. Trump's like, he needs to find a network so people will hear him. Well, listen, I don't like Tucker Carlson, and I don't know what his reach is on X or on independent media compared to Fox. It may be about the same. He may be doing much better. I don't know. But what I do know is just objectively speaking, Tucker Carlson still has one hell of a megaphone and is still a very popular right-wing podcaster and conspiracy theorist. So this idea that he's been muted because he's no longer on Fox seems to run contrary to what we know. I digress. He unapologetically believes the same thing as I do, that if we don't fight for our own country and our own people, then we will no longer have a country for our grandchildren, our children and our grandchildren. And foreign war / intervention / regime change put America last, kill innocent people, are making us broke, and will ultimately lead to our destruction. That's not kooky. That's what millions of Americans voted for. It's what we believe is America first. Damn. Taking a shot at the boss, right? Calling out Trump. It's interesting. Now, my speculation, by the way, because Marjorie Taylor Greene has been marginally more critical of Trump, really since Trump basically destroyed her ambition to run for Senate. Now, remember, there's an election in 2026 for Georgia's Senate seat, well, at least one of them, that's currently occupied by Democratic incumbent Jon Ossoff, who is amazing, by the way. And Georgia is a purple but right-leaning state. Marjorie Taylor Greene represents a far-right district in Georgia. So all the polling, including Republican polling, is that if she runs in the primary, she will almost certainly win the primary. But then if she runs in the general, she's going to get clobbered by Ossoff. Again, this is the dilemma that MAGA have created for themselves and find themselves in. To appeal to a far-right radical base, you got to be as far-right MAGA as possible. But to win a general election in a vaguely purple state, you got to be as reasonable as possible. And Marjorie Taylor, there's no way. This is the issue Carrie Lake had, right, in Arizona. She ran as far right as possible in the primary to win the primary and then had to cover twice that distance, right, to try to be seen as reasonable. And it didn't work out for her both times in the gubernatorial race and in Arizona's Senate race. And I'm convinced it would be the same thing for Marjorie Taylor Greene. Marjorie Taylor Greene should run because she will almost certainly lose, and it will protect Jon Ossoff and get her out of Congress. So fingers crossed, I hope she defies Trump there. But he finally talked her out of it and said, you can't do this. And as a consequence, Marjorie Taylor Greene, every now and then, she's been willing to poke a little bit. This is probably the most aggressive poking I've seen, however. So, Mediaite has a pretty good write-up here, a guide to Trump's fracturing coalition over Iran and Israel. You should definitely check it out. We'll be referring to it a lot. The posture-in-chief, Mark Levine from Fox News, the lackey, Charlie Kirk, the conspiracy whisperer, Laura Loomer, the hard-ass, Sean Hannity, the establishmentarian, Ari Fleischer, the echo chamber, Fox News Primetime, the apostate, Tucker Carlson, the convicted felon, Steve Bannon, the attention hog, Marjorie Taylor Greene. So let's just stop right there. Her lack of cheerleading for this escalation has drawn side eyes from the Hannity wing, but you have to give her some credit for actually sticking to her principles and bucking Trump while backing the Bannonite argument that defending Israel shouldn't mean bankrupting America. She really wants to be included in this, but in a manner that seems unlikely to please anyone. She has painfully tried to square the circle by aligning herself with Trump and Tucker Carlson while warning against dragging us into another forever war. Yeah, again, this is her problem, right? Her stated principles are things that Trump occasionally defies, right? Because Trump is wildly unprincipled. He's not an ideologue. He's a demagogue, right? He's a populist, a far-right populist, ideologically inconsistent, a malignant narcissist and a cultist, right? So this is the dilemma that so-called principled MAGA find themselves in, right? Which is that Donald Trump has no principles and therefore, by definition, will at any time betray your principles, even if you believe your principles align with him. He's inconsistent, right? This is where Marjorie Taylor Greene finds herself. And again, they all suck. And you and I and everybody else should simply be stirring the pot and doing our part to continue to exacerbate this tension. That's what we should be doing, because a divided Republican Party is objectively good, not just for the United States in general, but quite frankly, for Republican voters. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.